Good morning, everyone. It's Joker, and today we are back with another slime video. And it is not quite time to do like the normal tier list rankings, but I wanted to do a very small recap and put up a tier list of, in my opinion, the worst units to release in 2022 for slime. Now, obviously, we've only really been active for a year and like 3 months, so we're going to be cutting 2 metas and all of the OG units out, so we're not going to have anything that came with the start of the game. We're not going to have anything from Dark 1.0 or Wind 1.0. But everything from Fire 1.0 to Fire 2.0 is fair game. And so I have got all of the meta units. They're, free-to-play 4 stars, the Octograms, and the Protection units. And we're going to list my top 5, and again, in my opinion, dear Lord, please remember that it's opinion, most disappointing units of 2022. And then I've got a few honorable mentions because I don't think they're like the worst things, because they do have a little bit of use, but yeah, I mean, anyone could argue that all of these units do have a spot. I just am going to rank them because I'm so very disappointed in them. So, I think we'll start with my number 5 choice, and we'll do the honorable mentions last. So, number 5, so the best of the worst in this category, is going to Earth Soe. When Earth 1.0 came out, we had Hakuro. Awesome. We had Benimaru, who unfortunately wasn't AoE, but had that great, the first person to orb steal. He had the orange buff, which worked really well with Hakuro. And then Earth Soe came out. And instead of having a giveaway or having a orb steal, he had a giveaway, which is all RNG based, right? You could either give it to the person on the left, you give it to the person on the right. I don't like that kind of RNG. That's why we liked Benimaru, because you knew what orbs you were going to steal when he came in. And then he had guaranteed crits, which, cool. Fire Millam came out like 2 months ago, and she gave everybody crits. So why are you singular giving crits? I think you also lowered a little bit of defense, but that's pretty negligible. And then, a week later, Earth Valentine came out and shit all over this guy. So, sadly put to the wayside, not as good as he could have been, and definitely underperforming in most events nowadays. It's just that we have Fire Millam, we have the hero, we have a whole bunch of other units now because they're trying to phase the hero out. We have a whole bunch of units that are either giving crits to themselves, that are doing much more than what the Soe is, and that's all because of power creep, or the bosses you just can't crit, because they have like 80% crit resistance, and critting is the worst thing you could do to your damage. So he is my number 5 choice. My number 4 choice came right before him. Raphael. And Water Raphael, also suffers from that middle child syndrome, right? Because, Water 1.0 started, Chloe and Alice, it made sense. We were piercing a lot. Alice was orb changing. And then Raphael came out. And, he lowered defense. Cool, you're going to do more damage. He had a pierce buff in case you gave him pierce. Okay, cool. He had a single orb change, which was a orange to green. Okay. Kind of weird because you have Water Soe, who is a double green or double orange to green orb changer, and he's got a little bit of defense. But Raphael's whole point, the whole point of Water 1.0 was nerfing them down and then using the pierce to do big damage, with Chloe giving that 40% ult. And then Velzard came out, and again shit all over Raphael, just like Valentine shit all over Soe, right? Defense down is cool. You know what's even cooler, though? Bringing another DPS support. Big time damage support. Because Velzard gave herself attack. Gave herself pierce power. You just needed to give someone to give her pierce, which Alice did. Yes, Alice also gave Raphael pierce. Velzard's got a lot more DPS in her. And then you could bring, you don't need, technically, an ult buffer, because Chloe was doing that. So you could bring Fire Millam and get guaranteed crits. You could bring, a whole bunch of other units that would help the team run smoother and more efficiently. You could bring, actually I don't think he came out yet, so you could bring, Wateranga to lower pierce resistance. Raphael was just another middle child that was clearly outshone by the first child and the third child. So, and it's also, no, it's not because I'm biased because I had to go to double pity for him. It's totally not why he's here. He's just not a good unit. Don't look at me like that. Next unit at number 3 is Albus. Because who the fuck runs Albus nowadays? It's funny that we have 2 Earth 1.0 units here. But Albus, again, suffered from the orb giveaway thing, which again is full RNG, and I hate that. And then her second skill was stun evasion. There are so many units that, had stun evasion by Earth 1.0's time. And stun evasion wasn't really a thing at that point, because once Hakuro came out, you didn't need to stun evade the orc or the golem. You just killed them. You could have taken the stun and then been just fine, because then you could have just used Hakuro turn 5 or whatever, gotten a whole bunch of points and nuked its sorry ass out of here, just like the golem. There was no point to give this unit stun evasion when all the other units had stun evasion. Dark Benny, I think, had stun evasion. Maybe. Light Shuna. OG Light Shuna had stun evasion. There's a lot. We didn't need it. She could have had so much more. And it's because it's her first playable unit, right? We still have not gotten another Albus version in this game. So, unfortunately, 1, she's free to play. 2, she's pretty bad. And 3, she's a hot waifu. She's a hot snake waifu. What more could you ask for? Why'd you have to shaft her like that? 'Tis unfortunate. It's very unfortunate. I never use her. She's there maybe as a support slot for, Earth Aaron. The next Earth unit to come out. Many times better than her. Many, many times better than this Albus. Moving on to number 2. Speaking of Earth 2.0, where's his sorry ass? Clayman. Again, our first version of Clayman, playable Clayman, summonable Clayman to appear in this game, and he was not what we wanted him to be. We all know that Earth 2.0 was a meta of many, many different playstyles smashed into one. We had skill resets, we had green buffing, we had counterattacking, we had stacking deadly poison, of which, Clayman had counterattacks. Cool. Or no, he taunted. He was the first taunt unit, and he counterattacked when he was, when he taunts. Or he has counter power. That's what he was. But you needed someone to give him counterattacks, which would have been the Earth Benny Protector, or the Golem, right? Golem, not really the best thing nowadays. Earth Benny can still be really, really annoying in Valor Cup. You ever faced a wailed out Earth 2.0 team, you think you're not killing that team. They have too much defense. Too much defense, and you can't attack them, because they're going to hit you back. But Clayman, 1, needs someone to give him counterattacks. 2, needs someone to poison, so he can start stacking his deadly poison. Which, Adelman is down here, right? He was the one that gave people poison, and then you could stack that power with Clayman and Adelman. Fine, whatever. You still needed to pull you still need to pull Adelman, which honestly was not a good prospect for most players anyways. So he is a character, while being single target, is pretty useless, unless you have the required supporting cast around him. Required supporting cast. There's 2.5 units that give counterattacks, one of which is his Protector, one of which is an OG unit, and I'm sure there's a 4-star in there somewhere that I'm forgetting. But, that's not working. And then Deadly Poison, Deadly being, the optimum word right there. It was only Adelman. You had a whole bunch of other units that could, normal poison. I didn't actually test if that stacked. And I'm not going to, because it's useless, right? Whoop-de-fucking-do. He poisons and he's got taunt. He's the first taunt character. We're probably not going to get another one for a while, because they just shit the bed with him. But then we move on. Actually, no, we're going to do our honorable mentions first, before we move on to number 1. So, honorable mention number 1 is, sadly enough, Battle Unit Light Shizu. She does have the biggest single target heal in the game at 45%. She does have an attack lower. That's not what I'm looking for, right? Light 1.0 was a very heavily power crept meta. It wasn't very good. You had like Light Soka, who, you know, actually now that we're here, where is she? Light Soka, where are you? You're also going honorable mentions, both of you. Hinata, fairly good. Single target, she had that defense skill. She was the special orange converter, of which she's still the only one. Leon is currently being used right now in Light 3.0 to power up Raphael, so he still has use. These two, though, you're a healer. Healing is not really big in this game, right? Either you bring Big Mommy, Big Daddy damage, and you kill before they kill you, or you just, you know, I don't know, you stack and then do Big Mommy damage afterwards. Healing is not relevant in this game unless you're in Valor Cup, of which I'd rather bring Orb Changers. She's not an Orb Changer. She does have an attack lower, which could be useful in Valor Cup. I actually have to go and actually use her, because I've never used her in Valor Cup personally. But I would rather just run a full Dark team and have a whole bunch of Orb Changes and, you know, boost up my Dark Milim and Dark Rimuru. I don't see anyone use her. I don't see anyone talk about her. I don't use her. I don't talk about her. Soka, you know, being part of Light 1.0 is, again, a sad unit, because there really is no event that is built for long-term skills that she has. Guarding is good, right? It reduces the damage you take on normals. Not alts, though. Not alts. Only normal attacks. She resets skills, which is good in case you're going to run like a turtly tanky team, and you can heal over and over and over again. There's not an event out there that lasts for nearly that long that you're not just going to bring a stacking team and nuke the shit out of. She also buffs oranges, which we've only had 2 actual metas focus on orange. Earth 1.0 and Fire 2.0. Everything else has been blue or green. They don't really buff oranges a lot, alright? That may change this year, who knows? But she's suffering from not having good places to use her, not really having a good team to use her with, right? So, both unfortunate. My third and final honorable mention is going to go to Octogram Dagroll, because to be fair, I have used him in Jubilee, and he has helped me obtain a high score because of his instant damage. That's the only reason. And his instant damage cuts his defense. And his other skill, which gives him 50% alt gauge, cuts his health. You are continuously nerfing yourself to either get an alt, which isn't going to do a lot of damage, because he's AoE, and he's level 80 for me, technically, and he should be either level 80 or does not exist in your box, please. Or he's doing instant damage to everybody at the sacrifice of his HP, which you can literally, and I did it during his test, I got his defense down to 0. And I had a Predator battle kill him. A beginner stage Predator battle killed him. As a joke, right? I was trying to show, how useless he was, and I definitely did. He's not good. He does have use, though. I have personally used him one time, in one Jubilee, to, make him slightly relevant. So, he belongs in honorable mention. But those are the 3 honorable mentions that I have placed. Let us finally get to the number 1 most disappointing unit of 2022, and it's actually a pretty recent unit. And, I mean, looking at this entire list, you can probably guess where we were going. Probably. I don't know. It depends on how well you know me and how much I hate certain things. But my number 1 worst, most disappointing unit of 2022 is bitch-ass Dino. Octogram. It's sad that a lot of the Octogram units are pretty bad. Pretty bad. Leon is he's okay. He's like okay. Guy is where is Guy? He's becoming a little bit more relevant as stuns are coming. Ramaris and Milim were not in this list because they came out technically in December. Milim was technically in the game since day 1, but we couldn't obtain her until December. And then we're still missing Rimuru. And then Valentine is obviously very, very good. Dino, though. Let's look up Dino's skills. I got it right here. Hold on. Let's go find Octogram fucking Dino. So, he is an AoE. He's defense growth type. His skills decreases a single target's attack by 20% for 3 turns. Cool. It stacks 10% every 3 turns. I don't know of a fight where I'm going to bring him, where I'm going to sit there for 9 turns. Well, yeah, 9 turns. So we can maximum lower an enemy's attack. That ain't happening. 9 turns is optimum time for the actual Water 2.0 team to nuke the shit out of you. 9 turns is 1 more turn needed than the Dark team to nuke the shit out of you. 9 turns is like 4 turns too many for the Fire team to just burn the shit out of you. Alright? You're not bringing this guy. He lowers a single target's water resistance by 14%. Oh, bless his heart. Oh my god. It could be high. I think it's like 20% when he's at level 10 skill. Oh, what a guy. Get out of my face. Number 2, he heals himself for 67%, which I think goes up to 80? Let's check that, actually. I don't actually know. It goes up to 70. It's even worse than I thought. Anyways, he heals himself, but then also cuts his own attack. Which means that if you're waiting for this Dino for some reason to nuke, you're going to do a lot less in case you're dying. Which, I mean, you shouldn't be dying because you're nerfing their attack, right? By 50%, quote unquote, right? Octogram units have been pretty much a laughing stock of this game. They're touted as like, save up, buy these units, they're so good. Look at their new Octogram gear, which is also pretty fucking useless. And then we're continuously disappointed. Dark Valentine came out, when did she come out? Like Earth 1.0 time? Maybe a little bit before that, after that? What was it? I don't remember when she came out. She's still, to this day, the best one, right? And now that the new Raphael has come out with the ult resistance down by 50%, it actually has more of an impact on your DPS as a whole than the 60% ult buff that you get. And it only costs 55 points versus, 25, 45, 65 points that Valentine does, because you got to use it 3 times. It is permanent, and if you're using a skill reset or protector like Veldora, you can make it work. Or you can just use Veldora and swap Valentine for Raphael and just use the 1 skill. She does have a good trait, but we're not talking about her. We're talking about bitch-ass Dino, and how useless he is, and how stupid he is, and how bad he is. Everyone's like, oh, we only have 1 more Octogram unit because we don't know when Reamer is coming. It's going to be Dino. I pray that he's good. And then we saw the live stream, and God forbid, he was not good. He was not good. Octogram Dago came out before him. He was not good. All we can do is laugh, which really, really paints a sad picture for upcoming Octogram Rimuru. Because they either make him incredibly busted, because, we're going to wait God knows how long. We don't even have an ETA for him. We just know that they're making him. And he could go really, really high in the sky, or he could be just an absolute cluster of disappointment and hatred. And I really pray that they don't shaft him like that. He's the main character, right? Right? It's taken over a year to get him. It's gonna take over a year to get him. I just pray that they don't fumble him. But this is my top 5 and honorable mention list of the worst units of 2022. Again, in my personal opinion. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Are there any other units that you would have placed on this list before them? I could hear arguments for, Adelman. I could hear arguments for Octogram Leon. I personally wanted to put Dark Diablo 3.0 up here, Grand Admiral Diablo, just because I hate him and I wish that his conversion was on Shinsha, but that's a different story. Let me know in the comments, but that's it from me, guys. Take it easy, and I'll see you later.